All right, how's everyone doing? I am Rich CELENZA. Thanks for checking out my show. So what I want to get into today is kind of a spin-off off another podcast I did. The original podcast I did was, it may have been a video too, I'm not sure actually, now that I think about this, but it was either a video or a podcast I did on, people's possessions, limiting them from experiences. Because in life, I'm more about the experience than the possession at this point in my life, especially in my 50s. I've been through the whole thing regarding possessions, owning many different things. It could be homes, businesses, cars, jewelry, wardrobe, and everything in between, as I like to say. But in this case, I run into a lot of people, and I realized a lot of times they're insecure because they don't have certain possessions, or they're depressed, is what I should say. And I get it, especially if you hang around with a lot of wealthy people. Now, I now have a lot of wealthy family members, friends, and colleagues that are doing exceptionally well. I'm not doing nearly as well as far as financial goes. For the last probably, I can't say 20 years, but probably 20 years, I just kind of went and wanted to do my own thing. I made a substantial amount of money as a young guy, did a lot of stuff, was able to do probably a lot more than most, especially throughout their 20s, had a lot more than most people I ever knew at that point in time. And I don't know what happened to me, good or bad, but I just fell into a rut. And I just realized not only was I not obsessed with possessions as much as I thought I'd be, but I also didn't want to maintain those possessions and have all the stress of dealing with them. Does that mean I want to be broke? No. Let's not get ridiculous. I'd love to make tons of money again, but I'm not going to be obsessed with if I don't. Let me put it this way. I don't want to be somebody where I feel wrong or feel bad because I don't have certain things in my life. Back to the experiences, I want to feel full doing things with my friends or family members. That's what fulfills me now. Maybe 5 years down the line, I may jump back into money and say, listen, now that I'm heading into my 60s, I have to totally think about retirement. And believe me, I think about it now. But back to, I see a lot of people, and I can even tell a lot of people talk shit, for one, about a lot of people that have a lot of things, right? That they're a certain way, that they're all about the money, or they're all about this and that, which I find completely ridiculous. Regardless if you got money or not, if you're a good person, you're a good person. That goes for if you're broke too. There's shitty people that are broke, there's shitty people that are rich, there's great people that are poor, and there's great people that are rich, I guess you could say. But if you find yourself, and I sometimes still kind of find myself like that sometimes, being around certain people saying, oh shit, you know what? Especially when you have something too, like say you had I lived in a very nice home in a gated community, and you're on a golf course and you have all these type of sports cars and you're traveling and all this jewelry and stuff, and then you don't have it anymore. Does that mean I'm a horrible financial guy, or whatever you want to say? I'm horrible with money? Maybe to a certain degree I was. But I remember when I was just burnt out. I wanted to release everything. I felt like I had hundreds of acres, all this furniture and these homes, and even more than one home. You're living in one, renting another. And believe me, I'm not sitting here saying I'm some multimillionaire. It was far from that. But my point being is, even when I see people now that may have a lot more than me, sometimes I'm like, oh shit, do I got to get that? Oh, I feel like a piece of shit. I should be living in a house like that. I should, my buddy was just talking about, he got a yacht, or his brother-in-law, great guy, he's buying a yacht in Miami. We all got to go on it. I'm like, yeah, of course. And my whole family was really into boating, and they had beautiful boats, all different styles, all different sizes. And that goes for Chicago or the Midwest and the intercoastal in South Florida. But I was just thinking, wow, you know what? I never wanted to boat or maintain one. But I'm thinking, wow, he's a young guy, his brother-in-law, cruising around in a yacht. I'm like, wow, man, that sounds kind of cool. I wouldn't mind, I don't want to own a yacht. I don't want to maintain a yacht. But I was just thinking, wow, man, I don't even have a little boat. Not that I wanted one, but you got to goof around with yourself. And that's the same goes for other things as well. And a lot of people I know hit me up and always say, Rich, on the flip side, you've been able to travel for so many years and you've been able to do all this crazy shit. Maybe meet all these people, have all these different experiences. If it was making films, writing books, and maybe doing maybe being in California for a substantial amount of time, living in Florida, living in Chicago, spending a lot of time all over the place. So, on the other end, maybe, and I do know a lot of people hit me up with that. But it's life is quite interesting is what I'm going to say. And if you are kind of feeling, kind of shitty because you don't have a lot of things in your life at this point in time, especially if you're younger or even middle-aged, because a lot of times you just think it's coming your way and it doesn't come. Next time I'm going to get that car, a better car. And a lot of times you don't get a better car. The next place I live in is going to be a lot better than this place. And it's either the same or shittier sometimes, right? That's just life. And, sometimes it is hard not to compare yourself to others. I don't give a shit what anybody says. A lot of times you'll be like, oh, don't worry about what other people are doing. And I say that too. Don't compare yourself to them. They're in a different situation. They may have had money in their past or someone may have given it to them. They may have been lucky and blah, blah, blah. Who gives a shit about any of that? You got to kind of worry about yourself to a certain degree. And, if you truly do want possessions, and believe me, I was one of these guys that was obsessed with possessions, and that's what drove me. What drove me to want more possessions is what drove me away from possessions. So I realize with my personality and my drive, I can kind of have it both ways. But I get confused myself because one minute I do want to live a certain lifestyle, maybe live in a certain community, and then I'll literally say 5 minutes later, I'm ready to go to either Italy or to Hawaii and live on the beach in a tent. That's how nuts I am. And that's how really I feel. And I do wacky shit like that. I did it in California. Who knows if I'll do it again. But, I don't want to go on and on with this. It was just something kind of funny I thought about. But if you are somebody that, you want possessions, the truth is you're going to have to work your ass off most likely to get them. Maybe not, but most of the time you're going to, and when I say work your ass off, that doesn't mean you got to go get a job that kills yourself for 100 hours a week. That doesn't mean you got to start a business and destroy your life. What I mean by working your ass off, kind of, when I say it, is like figuring out a way on how to get the shit you want. Because that's what life comes down to if you want possessions. If a lot of people, they can save money for 20, 30, 40 years and then finally get the house of their dreams. And as you know, some dudes can get the house of their dream in, who knows, 6 months to a year or whatever the case may be. And, if you truly want certain things, most likely, if someone's not giving them to you, you have to be creative to figure out, how am I going to get these things? I don't care if you grab things, sell them online, flip them. I don't care if you do start a business, but like a lot of people don't realize is most people that start businesses go out of business. They usually lose more money than they make. Not everybody, but a lot of people. So a lot of people think I'm going to do this and I'm going to spend this amount of money and I'm going to get a return like this. It's kind of full of shit, but God bless you. You got to do what you got to do. But again, you have to figure out from a creative standpoint, if you want certain things, you can get certain things. I can assure you. Sometimes it may not be exactly what you want. You may be able, and I've talked about this before, come very close. So say you want a convertible Porsche, new, right? And you don't want to spend, I don't even know what a new Porsche now is. Say it's 150, 180. I don't even know. But you may be able to go get a used vintage Porsche for a third or a quarter of that cost. Maybe not. I don't know if you can't afford the financing or how you're going to get it because it's an older car. But again, you may get creative and figure out how to do that. And sometimes, a lot of times when it comes to possessions, I believe, what you think that possession is going to fulfill you with, a lot of times doesn't. It doesn't have to even do with money. It's great for the time being for a 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. But just like anything else, it wears thin, I think. And I'm just that kind of weirdo. Now, other people may get whatever they want and just cherish it forever. But I think people, for the most part, no matter what it is in life regarding possessions, it becomes the norm. Now, that doesn't mean you don't cherish it, but it doesn't become as big of a deal as it once was, if that makes sense. Now, again, I'm just speaking on how I believe. You may believe differently, but, if you want these damn possessions, and I really get it. And again, it could go for homes. It could be for wardrobe, jewelry, all this type of shit. If that's what drives you, the other thing I would say is admit it. Don't bullshit yourself. Don't sit around and say, oh, I don't give a shit about, moving here or doing this or having any type of car. I'm this or that. When the truth is you do want these things. Don't be ashamed of it. You want it, get it. Do it now. Stop wasting time. Don't think it's going to come in the future, because most of the time it doesn't. Usually, especially if you're younger, you think you're going to have, I'm going to have more money when I get older. I'm going to have, a lot more things. The truth is you're probably going to have a lot more bills. You're going to probably have a lot more people to take care of, maybe not. The responsibility factors is going to be much higher. So just because you make more money, if you're younger and you don't make a lot of money now, you may make, like I just said, more money in the future, but your expenses probably are going to be a lot more. So what you think is expensive now, cost of living wise, is probably going to even be worse. So anyways, but please don't be, we started off this kind of one way and I went another story in my life. But yeah, I get if you are insecure, if you don't have certain possessions that other people have that you know or don't know. I don't care if you're looking at a magazine, a Robbie Board, which has all the top cars, boats, lifestyle in the world, that I used to kind of worship that magazine. And then, it's, man, life is so whack. I'm going to do another podcast on, rules and the kind of the way we were programmed regarding possessions. And for the most part, I don't think anybody, at least in North America, wants to be broke, obviously. And we all want certain things. Some people want other things more than others. Some people want different style possessions again. I don't know what that is. But, sometimes when it really comes down to certain things, what we sometimes think, again, what we want, we may not really want. It was kind of programmed in us. And I'll just wrap it up with this. I remember wanting, I didn't even care about watches. And this is back in the 90s when, Rolexes were still really the big thing. Probably still are. I don't even know anymore. There's so many different watch companies out there. And I had an opportunity to get a Rolex, a legit one, which was cool. And, when you're in your mid-20s and you're buying Rolexes, it's dope. And then I got one, and I really didn't like it. It was too heavy. And it was aggravating me. And a lot of people were always talking about it. Sometimes, even though I carried a gun, I thought I could get jacked at any time or get your arm, somebody makes a move. It's really a pretty big statement piece. The only thing I think saved me was that I was in Florida, so a lot of people were getting knockoffs in the flea market. To make a long story short, I get married, and I give my ex-wife a presidential Rolex, and she liked it. It was no big deal, and I realized she didn't really give a shit about watches either. And then I ended up buying some other watch, a Concord Delirium, which I'm going to do a video on watches if I think if they're worth the value or not, in my opinion. But that's another time. But, sometimes, in that case, don't get me wrong, I always thought about having a Rolex, and I knew it would be a huge statement piece. And then when I got it, it wasn't what I thought it was. I ended up reversing it. And I went to an auction and found the thinnest watch in the world, which is a Concord Delirium. At least I thought it's as thin as a dime. Because that damn Rolex was so big, it aggravated me. I ended up going with the lightest, thinnest watch I could, which is a collector's piece. Whatever. But my point being is what I kind of wanted or got wasn't really what I wanted. And you may find yourself in that situation as well, and also maintaining things. And I talk about that a lot of times. You may think you want a mansion till you get it, and then it's not only about the payment, it's about maintaining everything. It could be a sports car, it could be anything. So you really got to think about that. What do you truly want, and what are you really willing to put up when it comes to possessions? All right, I'm going to wrap it up there. You get a chance, check out my YouTube channel, Rich CELENZA. Just my name. If you want, you could go to my website, richcelenza.com. I'm also on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. All right, you have any other questions or comments, hit me up. I teach a Mastering Self-Confidence program. If you need any help regarding confidence, I may be able to help you, maybe not. Whatever. All right, take care, everyone, and I wish you nothing but the best.